Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and we have your Saturday edition of the Pocket Change Market Report for September 4th, 2021. I want to thank each and every single one of you for joining in what is usually probably the most anticipated, most hyped video of the week, and we have it twice per week now. In case you missed it, we do have a Wednesday edition, a midweek style type of video. Same thing, Pocket Change Market Report. And what that particular video accomplishes is that there are a lot of coins during the middle of the week that generally go uncaptured in the market reports. And I want to be able to put those out midweek. Sometimes it's a little bit, of a abbreviated market report compared to what my bigger Saturday reports are. But I wanted to touch on some of those notable sales because oftentimes, we miss out on some pretty big discoveries, some pretty big sales of coins that a lot of people don't know are worth money. Now, the big aim for this report is to simply look at coins that are being sold on the secondary market. Okay, in this case, these are all eBay sales of errors and varieties that are being found out there in the world today. And whether you're you like searching through your kids' change jar, or whether you like going to the bank and obtaining some of those coin rolls, but also on the other side, the cherry picking side of things, if you have a local coin shop that you like to frequent, or perhaps a coin show that's going to be close to you or wherever you go to for that coin show, there is a pretty big opportunity to cherry pick coins that these dealers don't know have maybe a really cool variety, whether it's a double die or a repunchment mark, or maybe even a transitional changeover type of variety, but also some of those errors. And, you talk to most of the big dealers, they just don't care about that stuff. But this is where each and every single one of you come in. You could turn a coin that you have paid $3 to $5 for and turn it at like $20, $30. And that's how this all works. Another thing to keep in mind, none of these coins are graded. Okay, the big idea is you find them, you can either keep them into your collection, maybe that's part of your centerpiece or whatever, or you can go ahead and flip them and make some money in the process. Sending these coins out to graders like PCGS or NGC will hurt the value of your coins. There are coins that are worth $25, but once you grade them, regardless of what they come back as, guess what? They are still worth about $25. So the $30 or so that you had spent to grade the coins will just be lost profit to you. So we don't want to do that. We want to focus on the coins that you can just, take great pictures and go ahead and sell them on the marketplace, because coins are still hot. And I anticipate that as we roll into the holiday season, it's just going to get just much more insane. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the first set of listings. These are all from the last, I would say, 24 to 36 hours. Quite active, but I will say this, there was a lot of garbage listings that sold. A lot of shiesty, shenanigans happening, people selling coins that are neither an error or variety. And, yeah, that's a conversation for another time. But anyways, we've dug through all of the stuff and we came up with 33 total listings that we're going to talk about. Starting off with a little bit of paper money. We have a 1981 $1 Federal Reserve note. The front of the note doesn't appear to show anything substantial here. The circulation-wise, this thing has seen quite a bit of that. So it's not a perfect note. It's not like it was printed yesterday. This one has a great big solvent smear or ink smear on the reverse. And generally, when you have these solvent smears, it's going to be the same color of ink that is on the back or front of that note. So you want to keep that in mind. If you flip this thing over and see a big old smear of black ink, more than likely it's not going to be a legitimate solvent smear. So do keep that in mind. But this one right here, ladies and gentlemen, sold for $53.99 as a snatch it up, grab it up, buy it now listing. On to a few coins. We have a 1998 D Roosevelt Dime. Now, based off of what I'm seeing here, we do have a uncentered broad strike. And with the broad strike, you're going to have nearly a full rim on the opposite corresponding side. But how a broad strike works is as these coins are being minted, the coin or the blank planchet is being fed into the striking chamber. So there's going to be this collar that that ratchets up and down to hold the coin in the striking chamber. When that collar malfunctions and it's not there, it's going to create a broad strike where the strike will occur, but that extra metal flow will go outwards. There's nothing to hold it in. All right, so that's what we have here. This particular coin sold for $12.94. This is what I would consider to be more on the minor end. So if you were searching through rolls of dimes or nickels or what have you, you'll find coins that look like this, and they will still fit in a standard roll, no problem. Generally, with broad strikes, the coins get a whole lot bigger, and will normally upgrade to the next size up in coin size. So, if this Roosevelt dime was broad struck any harder, the dime will be about the same diameter or circumference rather of a Lincoln cent. All right, so that would be the next kind of like upgrade in the size. The next one that we have here is a poor old story, and this is the coin I talked about just here in the last week. For all of you Denver Mint fanatics out there, a lot of you west of the Mississippi don't really find a whole lot of really cool finds out in circulation. The Denver Mint just knocks it out of the park, but I had talked about this coin that was kind of a big deal, and all it took was a few listings to completely butcher the market for this coin. A coin that sold for around $50 to $60 just over a week ago has been resorted to mere pittance. But this is the American Samoa ATB quarter. It's the Denver minted type, and this was the one that I had talked about last week. If it was listed and described correctly, you would be making some money. But all it took was a few listings, and it kind of killed this coin, unfortunately. This particular seller did pretty good photos. I'm not disputing that, but there are a few errors in the listing. I think I had talked about it last week. This one was, let's see, it was categorized on the listing as extra whiskers die break. Okay, we got the extra whiskers, okay. I mean, it looks like that. That's kind of like the moniker or the nickname that's been just all of a sudden attributed to this particular error. But it's not die break. It's feeder finger scrapes. Completely different, completely separate. But this coin, ladies and gentlemen, there were two sold back to back. Sold for $1. I mean, it's sad listing, sad state of affairs. And, it's these type of listings that'll kill an error or variety in its tracks. And the Denver Mint, again, is known for its quality controls that are way much better than what the Philadelphia Mint puts out. So to find, any sort of error on a Denver coin is kind of a special treat. But again, this was a pretty big mistake on the seller. There was also another coin that sold within the last 12 hours that sold for $15.50. That was miscategorized as well, unfortunately. So the prices are just dropping to next to nothing now. I think another thing that went wrong is you don't sell these as traditional auction listings. You won't get the money for them. You put it up for a buy it now listing, $49.99. You either sell or you don't. If you're way too greedy and you need the money right now, you're going to find that you're going to sell these for next to nothing. So there you go. Kind of a moot point now. These listings are etched in stone, and that is the market. These are worth a few bucks, if that. The next one that we have here is a 2000 Lincoln Memorial Cent. All right, this one here, another broad struck example. The coin's in pretty decent shape. It's got some funny looking staining and maybe a little bit of carbon spotting on there, but this is a really nice centered broad strike example. This particular coin sold for $9.45. All right, so we have a few Washington quarters. This is probably my favorite out of the couple in terms of the type of error and the overall condition. But we have a 1990p Washington quarter, very nice. This is more than likely going to show up in a a off-center error collection of some sort that needs this date. People do collect these by date. So when a singular coin comes up in the marketplace that is seldom seen, the bidding activity is going to be quite good. In this particular case, this coin is off-center by about 15%, give or take a few percentage points. But this one right here, through 12 bids completed, sold for $21.16. Not too bad. I've seen this coin sell for probably nearly double that. So I don't know if the listing was up for only a day or 3 days, but that'll make a pretty big difference in the final value fee, or the final price rather. All right, we got another one of these, 1995 Lincoln Memorial Cent. This, of course, is the double die obverse, or the FS 101 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. You can see the word Liberty is strongly doubled, great spread on here, and the motto, In God We Trust. And to a lesser degree, the date. You won't see as much doubling there. The coin is pretty nice, high grade. It looks like it's got some kind of like rose kind of toning on the obverse. I think because of the amount of light hitting the coin on the photograph, that it kind of skews the overall perception of what the coin actually looks like. But I'm just glad to see more of these come out in the marketplace. And, the money is still decent, still rather strong for much nicer mid-state red examples. 2 bids altogether sold for $32.58. Our next piece of paper money is going to be another $1 Federal Reserve note. This time it's 77A series. And yeah, check out that third printing. It's misaligned and shifted to the left. So you do have some overlapping of the third print elements over the first printing. And that's what error collectors like to see for these types. And the note has circulated a good deal. So nobody really cared about this error for a number of years, and that's okay, because someone else had, taken advantage of that opportunity. And this one was actually quite a strong seller in spite of its condition. The back of the note, you can see, just has little bits of little stains and what looks to be rust staining on there too. Not sure if that's what it is, but yeah, pretty well loved $1 bill for sure. Probably paid for a lot of tips out there. And 22 bids altogether. This one sold for $31.89. So that's a rather respectable amount of money for this one. All right, probably not cherry pickable or findable in circulation, but you could always cherry pick something like this for a decent amount of money. But what we have here is a $1 silver certificate. But check out the serial numbers. Fancy serial number hunting should be a thing that you guys do. If you are going through paper money straps and bundles and bricks. It's almost a foregone conclusion that if you're going through paper money bundles that you should look for these. But we got 4 5s, 4 1s, and altogether they call this a double quad. Very cool serial number, fancy serial number pattern. Of course, it's one of the more desirable types. And then when it shows up on a high-grade example, it deserves high-grade money. In this particular instance, this one sold for $164.98. Not just silver certificates, but any new note that you find, ladder notes, 7 in a row, 8 in a row, double quads, repeaters, 2-digit repeaters, things like that. Make sure you look for these as you're going through their notes. It'll turn a $1 bill sometimes into $10 for you, or 20, or 50, or 100. Really depends on that serial number pattern. And there are some serial number patterns that are worth a ton more money than you would think. I've seen notes sell for many thousands of dollars, like serial number 1 and all that great stuff. So these are out there. They're being found, and people are selling them on the secondary market. This is just a good example of a rather wholesome silver certificate. It looks to be in pretty good shape. Okay, we have a couple blank planchets. We have a 90% blank planchet. This is on a Washington quarter, or was intended for a Washington quarter. It weighs in at 6.25 grams, which is right there, right in that wheelhouse for a quarter weight. In this particular case, silver blank planchets, and this is the Type 2, by the way. You can see the upset rim all the way around on both sides. This particular one sold for $78.49. And at the same time, and I don't know if this was offered from the same seller, I'd have to say not, because there was probably someone looking for this particular type of error and ended up buying the dime one that you see here and the quarter that we just looked at back to back. But what we have here is a blank 90% silver planchet meant for like a Roosevelt dime, you know, pre-64, pre-65. But pretty cool. Not nearly as in good shape as the quarter blank, but this one still did sell for $38, which is not bad. Our first, I would say, off-center Lincoln cent is a common date 1999. Now, when I say common date, from 98 to 2001 in Lincoln cents, those are some of the most common dates to find off-center coins. There was just quite a few of them. A lot of them in the marketplace today if you needed one. But the real reason why that this one's here is that you do have a lot of this pull away of the copper plating, which exposes the zinc core. This one looks relatively good, but again, if you have these or you are a collector of these type of coins, keep in mind that your storage means everything. If they're stored improperly, and it's stored in an environment where there's a lot of humidity and moisture, that's going to greatly destroy or slowly destroy the coin at its core, all right, because those are exposed areas. But it's a 99. It has a full date. You guys know what I say about full date off-center coins. They're just the most desirable out there. This one sold for $9.29. So we don't see Silver Eagles on the list that often, but this is definitely worth a conversation just because it sold for a bunch of money. But we really do have a 2016, just good old basic, meant as a BU, investable, tradable, that sort of thing, Silver Eagle with a pretty cool little error. And you have a little minor strike through on the date. So it could have been like a little spot of grease or something that landed on that planchet before it was struck. But wow, pretty cool. Very nice, very minor, might I add. But even still, a best offer was accepted on this one. Their original asking price was $79. So let's just say like 50, 60 bucks is what this sells for. Silver Eagles were produced in such high quality under very, very, very tight processes that you don't normally see strike throughs on these coins. You just don't. And that's the big reason why that a lot of these sell for the amount of money they do when they do come up, is that it's just a pure rarity. We have a cool little curved clip on a 1960 Lincoln Memorial. Very nice, very clean. The coin is in relatively good shape as well. Lots of mint state red on there. But what we have here is a coin that sold for $22.50. So it's pretty good money. We have some old coin here, 1866. This is the 2 cent shield coin, and as you can see, there's a lot of weakness on the obverse here, and even on the reverse in the same area. All right, so the theory is, you know, based off of today's technology, some people will look at this and say, "Oh yeah, that was struck through grease," but because it's occurring on both sides of the coin, this also does open up another possibility, and that is a tapered planchet. So the planchet wasn't, you know, the correct tolerance all the way across. You know, it was a little bit thinner on one side to the other. And another thing to keep in mind about these is that you have a little bit more general weakness here on the rim or the denticles in this area, which might support the tapered planchet argument a little bit better. You don't see it quite as well here because this rim is struck very strongly. But that's what I think it is. We just don't see like strike through grease and all that stuff until about like late 1880s, 1890s. You know, you do see quite a few of those on like Indian head cents and all that. But still not bad. This one sold for $61.95. There is a little bit of porosity on the surface of the coin, which might lead me to believe that this was possibly a dug coin. So it's probably in the ground for a little bit. Now this one's pretty cool. What we have here is a 1926. I believe it's a Denver. This is a D minted 26. Not your run-of-the-mill coin that you see quite that often, but the piece dollar has what looks to be a die break that goes across the tail wing area of the eagle there. It's kind of hard to see because these pictures are very dark, but that is what the seller says they are. And I did a little cross-reference check on VamWorld and couldn't find a listing for a die break on the reverse tail feathers. So it's either going to be a brand new listing for this date, and VamWorld hasn't updated their catalog since 2019, because that's when the last time we saw some new updated listings added. So this one might be a new one. Another possibility, and I almost hate to say this could be a hit. This coin could have possibly taken a hit at one point where it's pushed some of the metal right on there to where it looks and appears like a die break. I'm hoping for the better, that's for sure, because a new discovery is nothing to shy away from. This coin right here, 13 bids altogether, sold for $70.50. I would possibly take a flyer on that at that amount of money. I wouldn't pay more than that. It's roughly about 2.5 times the silver melt value, of course, but it is also a much tougher date as well. Here's a little bit more modern coin, 2016 Lincoln Shield Cent. As you can see, this one is slightly off center. There's even a little bit of a partial collar as well there, which is quite common on these, even if the coin is off center by just a smidge, probably like 6-7% at the most. This particular coin sold for $12.98. So please do keep an eye out for these. These are worth money as well. Let's see. No, it's not our last currency item, but we do have another one here. 1981 $1 Federal Reserve note has a partial back to front wet ink transfer, or offset. Is what it's commonly referred as. But this is just a pretty cool note. That partial offset is about, I don't know, maybe 15-20% on the front. But this occurs when these sheets are being printed, and then the still wet ink on those sheets are continuously being stacked on top of each other. So that's just a transfer of some of that wet ink on there. The back of the note, completely clean. So this one sold for $48.99, and that's with 21 bids altogether. So that one had a little bit of bidding activity. 1970D. Now this one's pretty cool. Just a good old Lincoln Memorial Cent. The reverse set of dies look a little bit deteriorated, but the big selling feature are going to be these strange lines in front of Lincoln's face. Okay, and so what we have here is a clashed die example. You can even see a little bit here on the reverse. It's not nearly as strong. You can see a little bit in the base here, some of that clashing. But this is a later state clashing. I'm pretty sure the Mint employees didn't catch this one after, until much later, after many thousands of strikes have occurred, because the clashing is just really soft on this. But a tougher date. Again, it's a Denver, so you don't expect these kind of lapses in quality from the Denver Mint. But pretty cool coin nonetheless. Sold for $8.50. So, if you think about it, this is a coin that typically would be overlooked. If you don't look, you won't know. And by the way, if you don't have a magnifier, shame on you. That is a tool of the trade. And if you need them, I have my my Amazon links below in the description box. I do get paid a small portion of those sales. Nothing really to write home to mother about, but hey, it puts a little bit of food on the old table. So however you can help, of course, greatly appreciate your guys' support in that matter. But yeah, $8.50 for this one. They all add up. The smalls and the bigs, they all add up to something great. All right, so it's a shame that the obverse picture isn't better. I mean, you could see the little bit of green corrosion here, but this is a 1965 Lincoln Memorial, a very tough date to find with errors on it. Now, at first I was like, oh yeah, this is a off-center struck error, and it's close. It took me a second, but it's actually misaligned dice. So this one is way off-center on the obverse, but the reverse looks mighty good and centered. So that's kind of like one of your signs you're looking for a misaligned die. This particular coin, ladies and gentlemen, sold for $23.50. Jeez, that is a very, very powerful amount of money for this coin, and I'm just happy to see it here on the list. Here's another reliable coin to look for. It's a 2000 Lincoln Memorial. This one is indeed the wide AM reverse. You can see just a big old gap of space between the A and M in America. These are found on 98s, 99, and 2000, but only on the Philadelphia minted examples. There aren't any of these on the Denvers, which is a shame because I'm in Denver land over here and don't see too many of these. But yeah, definitely take advantage of this. This one sold for $13.51. This used to be a coin as recently as about 2 years ago that was selling for only like $3 to $5. They've since gone up as more people are getting into the hobby, and that's a good thing. You know, maybe one day these things will be $20 in most condition states. Man, always check those older coins. It doesn't matter how beat up they look. This is a 1939, and it would be hard to miss things like all these scratches and whatnot on there. I mean, it's in pretty rough shape. But right where the wheat stock comes close to the edge, we do have a little bit of a retained break, die break, which will become an eventual cut. All right, so it's not quite there. You still got some of the detail of the side of the wheat stalk that's still being struck, even with a very loose piece of the die just sitting there. So not a full-blown cut, but we do have a retained die break right there on the edge. Pretty cool. Yeah, and here's the big reason why I'm saying you ought to keep an eye out for these. This example sold for $25.24. And that's a total combined 3 bids that got to that amount of money. I mean, are you going to throw away $25 because the coin doesn't look aesthetically pleasing as you wanted to? No, I would say not. Just go ahead and pull out all the dirties as well because they're worth something. Now, in contrast, good old Simply Coins, I had to make everyone a little bit jealous with this one, but this is a 1954S, and he sold a number of these back to back, so I'm sure he found all these in a roll. But there's a couple really nice strike throughs. It could be like metal shavings or pieces of wood or grease or something with impacted debris in there. But yeah, these things are crazy, and he sold like 6, 7, 8 of them to a really nice pop of money, and this example sold for $10.90. So if you had found a number of them, that's $11 in your pocket for each one. There's a close-up of the strike through. Very, very, very strong. Very nice. Hard to miss for sure. Good job, Simply Coins, for finding these. Wow, we're almost to the end of the list, and then we come across our first lot. Okay, so we have a lot of off-center Lincoln Memorial cents. They're all of the copper-coated zinc era. Compositionally, nothing too fancy here. There's a couple coins that have dates on them, like this one here, possibly this one here on the top right, although the pictures are a little bit on the dark side. But I always tell folks, look out for these lots, because this could be kind of like a buy and sell opportunity for you. You could buy these lots, sell the coins individually, and hopefully double your money. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. This particular lot right here, 15 bids altogether, sold for $26.25. Yeah, you do the math, and you're looking at what, $4.60 a piece. So there might be a little bit of opportunity. This one is not going to blow you away. I would probably look at other lots that are much bigger with better photos. Well, this one's pretty neat right here. This is a copper nickel Clad Roosevelt Dime. It has no visible date, and it's understandable because, there's no date. You know, this thing's like off center by about 45%, somewhere around there. And this one sold for $42, and that's with 18 bids combined. Here's another clip. This time we have a double clip on this 1988D. It even has some smattering of the, the Blakesley effect on there, which is cool. That's what you want to see, just a flattening of the rim opposite of where the clip is. 88D, though, that's a Denver again. So, you know, you guys there with the Denvers, you're not completely shut out from great finds. Here's another good one. How about $19 for this? Not too shabby. I'll take that all day long. And here's the other off-center Washington quarter. This one I really love, man. This thing is clean, but it's a 77. And very lustrous, very nice, very well struck. I mean, there's really not a whole lot else you could say about it. It's off-center by about maybe 15%, which is fine. That's perfect. You got a full date on there, and that's what collectors care about. This one sold for $63.99, which is a damn fine amount of money. All right, so we got another one of these. Okay, there's a few of them out there. They're not that common as I originally thought. But 2021 P, Washington crossing the Delaware Crown die chip. You see that big boy right there that goes into E pluribus unum, EPU for short. But yeah, again, another strong seller. A couple of these have sold here in the last 2 days to the tune of like $50 to $60. This particular example sold for $65. God, man, they just keep going up. 11 bids. A lot of hype around this coin. I think just the sheer size of the die chip is really what promotes this one a great deal. Whether you're a collector of this or not, me personally, as a old coin purist kind of guy, this is fine. There's going to be a set amount of people that will collect these. And, if there's not a whole lot of them, then, if they're promoted and pitched correctly on eBay, then they're going to continuously command the kind of market it deserves. So, great looking coin. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. 1896 Indian head cent. It's got a nice strike through here above the word United, and it goes into the denticles of the edge rim area. Even older coins were not immune to this. In fact, just think that quality control was in the tanker back in the 19th century and just call it good. I mean, it really was. Current technology today is unrivaled for the last 2 centuries. So, as long as we see that in that light, then we'll understand, why things like this pop up. But not too bad here, $31.25. The coin is about VF, somewhere around there. VF 25, VF 30. It's got nice Liberty, maybe 1 diamond on the ribbon, 2 diamonds if you're squinting hard enough. This one's cool. Now, we've talked about turned digit errors before, but this is truly a turned digit. Check out that bottom left serial number string. Hey, you guys see that? You see a partial digit and then the next subsequent digit in that on that number wheel. It just got stuck in between printings. So that's what happens. When a number on that wheel becomes stuck, it'll do something like this. But this is the real deal. This is the one that you want to look for. Unfortunately, you don't see it on too many newer notes. This is, of course, a silver certificate way back from the 30s and 40s. But, heck. Well, we're going to throw it on here because maybe you'll come across one of these in an old collection somewhere. Silver certificates were widely hoarded. I don't know why. You could have picked up a silver dollar back in, what was it, 59, when they were about ready to do away with the silver certificate program. So there is an opportunity to change these silver certificates where without the error, these things are only worth like $2-3 on the best of days. But, wow, this is a really cool error. This one right here sold for $123.44, and that's with only 2 bids. So we had 2 people that were very interested, and someone got lucky, that's for sure. But there you go. A very well circulated note. There's the back, of course. It's got that horizontal and vertical fold line in there. Wait, didn't we talk about 1996P? Roosevelt Dime off-center error? Well, if we did, well, here's another one. Not quite to the level as the previous example, although this one's pretty nice too. Lots of luster. I would confidently say that this is mid-state. This one sold for $36.45. 5 bids altogether brought it up here to this level. And yeah, it's about 25% off center. Now, here's another one. I think this is more of a broad strike, though, because you still have quite a chunky rim area on the opposite end. But yeah, how often do you see a broad struck Indian head cent, especially one from the white cent era where these were copper nickel? Wow, pretty cool. 1862, grade wise is probably about a fine 12. It's got partial letters in Liberty. But, check out the circulation. This thing has gone through the paces of its life and commerce. $232, and yes, worth every penny of it. 15 bids. That's how scarce they are. You don't see these at all on the secondary market, and when one pops up, you put it on as a regular auction listing, and everybody and their mother will want this for their collection. We got 2 more pieces left, ladies and gentlemen. How about this thing right here? Now, like I had pointed out in my thumbnail, a lot of people look at this like, nah, it's damaged, right? Isn't that the common kind of like reaction to something like this? Oh yeah, look at that. It looks like garbage. But if you don't know what you're looking for, then obviously you are going to perceive it as garbage and then, move it on to its merry way toward that next cup of coffee or, whatever. But a very well struck reverse, but that obverse, what happened here? Well, this coin was struck through a capped die. Okay, number 1. Number 2, the capped die was split right down the middle, and this is the end result that you see here. So a capped die was obviously a very late stage in its life. That puppy was so thin that you had the actual design elements of the actual die pushing through the really thin die cap, but the die cap, like all things, break down over time, and this one split right down the middle. $123.85 is what this one sold for, and if you had thrown one of these back, that's how much you would have thrown away. So please do not do that. These are very, very awesome errors. They don't pop up that often, of course. We usually see them on Roosevelt dimes. So any other denomination is kind of like gravy on the old proverbial biscuit of profit. And then finally, you want to know the easiest kind of crackpot way of making money? Go to the bank and just buy up a bunch of dollar bills. Buy 1,000 at a time. And just simply take all the star notes that you pull out of these straps, put them all together in one lot, and then sell it. So what we have here is $128 face value of nothing but modern star notes. A lot of them are probably high print runs too. Sold for $233.99. So let's say, for argument's sake, for every $100 face of star notes you find, you'll profit about $80. So if you guys are looking for a quick kind of like, well, I'm not going to say quick. It really depends on how much energy you apply to this kind of activity. But if you're looking to cobble together like $500 to $1,000 between now and Christmas, do this. Do it. Do it. Heck, I'm thinking about doing it myself. And, I could chronicle the whole thing on video, and then just go to town. Do a little bit of banking arbitrage, right? There's retail arbitrage, and then there's banking arbitrage. Just taking advantage of the resources that you have. Now, last time I checked, people are screaming. Bank tellers and branch managers are screaming coin shortage. But there's no paper money shortage. Far from it. I mean, they're continuously printing these things. So might as well take advantage of that and making money in the process. All right? But also look for those star notes with low print runs as well. Like anything under like 640,000 are always going to be worth money. And then you just put together the rest in a neat little package like this seller did. And did probably one of the most brilliant moves I've seen. Very smooth. And just sold it and made $100. All right, and you just repeat. And just go to town and enjoy collecting your winnings as a result of all of the hard work you put in. Now, of course, you got to have the money to put into this venture. You can't say, oh, I'm going to go to the bank. Come to find out, you only have, like $300 in there and you got your car payment coming out next week. Yeah, definitely make sure you have some capital to work off of. I would say $1,000 and then you'll be in like Flynn. You're simply just recycling the money because the money will still go back in the bank. You're just investing a little bit of your time, which it's not a lot when you're going through straps. But you're also investing a little bit on the gas side as well. So keep that in mind. If you got local bank branches, this is one that I would say, is kind of like you can't really fail unless you want to make a few bucks. But there you go. That's my kind of like financial tip of the week, even though I'm not a financial channel. I'm just a dude that lives in my mom's basement and plays video games all day, and I'm not ashamed of it. But no, in all reality, I am a family man, and I appreciate your guys' time and energy into watching my videos. It was a truly magnificent honor and privilege to do this every week for you. But I am your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And please do hit the dislike button if you don't enjoy anything about today's content. But that's going to wrap her up. I wish you guys best of luck in your coming week of hunting and gathering some of these awesome errors and varieties. Don't forget to hit that bell for instant notifications. And Coinolics, we are discovering together every single day. I will see y'all guys on the next video. You guys take care. Enjoy your weekend. So long.